It's exclusive video that you saw first right here on the Law&Crime Network. Welcome everybody to Law&Crime Daily. I'm Jesse Weber. We've got our hands on hours of interrogation video that shows officers questioning OnlyFans model and murder suspect Courtney Clenney. And it actually catches the moment when the cops reveal that her then boyfriend Christian Obumseli is dead.
We have to inform you that Christian did not make it. Okay. Unfortunately, the doctors did what they could. And
Christian is dead.
Yes.
Oh my God. This is not real, right? Okay. There's a Christian died. I need to hug my mom.
I'll talk to your parents about it.
I cannot be left alone in like a room by myself.
You won't be.
After this. I just like, no, that's not true. That's not real, right?
It is real.
Christian is dead.
Yes.
All right, let's give you a quick timeline of the case. So both the prosecution and the defense have conceded that Clenney and Obumseli had this volatile, abusive relationship. And in April, the two got into a fight in their Miami, Florida apartment. Things got physical, and Clenney told police that she threw a knife at Obumseli in self-defense. But according to the medical examiner, the knife went into him near his shoulder, hitting a major artery, and he bled out and died. Clenney was detained and questioned, but not told that her boyfriend was actually dead until near the end of the interrogation. Police released her, but 4 months later, in August, she was charged with murder. Now, her defense team argued that for bond, but the judge determined that she could be a flight risk because she had reportedly made millions of dollars through OnlyFans. And during her 4-hour wait and interrogation at the police station, officers asked Clenney to sign a form waiving her Miranda rights. If she had asked for a lawyer, the questions have to stop. But here's what happened. She seems to stop just short of specifically requesting an attorney.
Here's the thing, is that this is constitutional rights waiver. My dad handles my lawyer. I'm not going to take a court-appointed lawyer. My dad handles my lawyer. I would not be calling my lawyer. So my dad is the first person you would call, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I've never been in a situation like this where somebody's in a hospital. Yeah. I've never been in this kind of situation. That's why, like, I don't want to do anything wrong. Mm-hmm. You know?
I mean, it's your decision at the end of the day. But
what happens if not?
If not, then that's it. We don't talk about what happened today. We'll just have to take the stories that we've been told from the people next door and previous situations and try and narrow it down to what happened today.
All right, let's get some expert insight right now with my co-host and public defender, Brian Buckmire. Brian, this is a good lesson here, right? What should people do if they're ever in a situation like this?
Say, I want a lawyer. I do not want to speak with you. Police will tell you if you can't afford an attorney, one will be granted to you. It's probably something many people are familiar with. Within the Miranda warnings is your right to counsel at all parts of a criminal case, even the interrogation. It's protected under the 6th Amendment. And like a lot of your rights, it can be waived, but rarely should it ever be. But the question here is, did Courtney Clenney invoke her right to counsel? Short answer, probably not. SCOTUS says that invoking the right to counsel must be unambiguous and unequivocal. You can ask for a public defender or your own attorney or just attorney in general. Doesn't matter. But saying, I should call my dad and he can call a lawyer may not be unequivocal enough. We spoke with a retired NYPD officer about Miranda rights, and this is what he had to say.
If somebody asks a question, do I need a lawyer? That's not asking for a lawyer. In order for that really to kick in, now, remember, there's some jurisdictions that are different. So each state has, kind of, made their own rules or so. But according to the Supreme Court, the person has to specifically say, I want a lawyer. Anything less than that is considered not a request. Said that with video confessions that convictions have gone up. And that has been good news for the police. I was a strong proponent of this because I was going to, you get a chance to see what the tactics were used, right? So the defense attorney kind of gets taken out of the subject because the defense attorney would say, well, they coerced my client, they threatened them, they didn't do this. But when that's all on tape and they treated the person properly and they gave them food and they gave them ample rest and they gave them bathroom breaks, it's difficult to say that the person was treated badly. So I think going forward, we will see the video confession be used for not just murder, but just about every major felony, and they should be.
Yeah, Jesse, different states have different standards. 5 years ago in Louisiana, when a person said, I want a lawyer dog, that wasn't unequivocal enough because he could have been asking for a dog like a canine that was an actual lawyer.
Wow, that's hard to believe, but I mean, look, it's an important lesson there, Brian, and thanks for that. I should tell you that while Clenney explained to the police what happened inside that apartment, previously released video and text messages show that prosecutors have called a campaign of mental and physical abuse against Obumseli. In fact, some of the text messages reveal what could be described as an increasing level of violence, with Obumseli complaining at different times of stabbing wounds to his legs, a concussion, and cuts to his cheek and chin. Now, I should also tell you that the apartment building where they were living was reportedly working to have the two evicted because of domestic disturbance complaints. Let me bring in my co-host and former trial attorney Terry Austin into this discussion. So Terry, it took 4 months to file charges against Clenney. She was actually at rehab in Hawaii. They extradited her back to Florida. Why this delay?
You know, 4 months, it does seem like a long time, but during that period, investigators were actually gathering information. Clenney initially said she was afraid that Obumseli was going to hurt her again, so she grabbed a knife and threw it at him when he was about 10 feet away. Based on that information, it sounded like self-defense, so the police let her go. But Clenney's story did not match information subsequently gathered by the investigators. The autopsy report said the wound was a forceful downward thrust. So did she throw the knife or not? There's also evidence that Clenney was the primary aggressor in the relationship. Finally, the warrant said there was a large amount of blood throughout the apartment, indicating that Obumseli was bleeding for an extended period of time. So based on all that, the authorities finally charged her with murder.
Yeah, not surprising considering all that. Terry, thank you so much. Well, police are working a brutal quadruple murder case in Idaho, but they may be getting sidetracked by online sleuths. They're now asking people not to contact the owner of a Hyundai Elantra that many believed could be connected to the case. Take a look at these photos. So a white Hyundai Elantra was found abandoned with no license plates in Oregon. Moscow, Idaho police were investigating whether it could be connected to the November stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students. However, police say they have been in touch with the owner and she has no connection to any property in Idaho. Police believe someone driving a white Hyundai Elantra may have been in the area the night of the murders and could have information that could crack the case. Over now to Texas, where former Fort Worth officer Aaron Dean learned his punishment for shooting a woman while doing a welfare check at her home. Dean stood trial for the 2019 death of a Tatiana Jefferson after responding to a neighbor's call about Jefferson's doors being open late at night. And that is when Dean shot and killed Jefferson through her bedroom window. A jury convicted Dean of manslaughter last week, and that same jury was tasked with handing down a sentence after hearing more evidence. Following a day and a half of deliberations, they gave him nearly 12 years in prison. Dean is eligible for parole after serving half of his sentence.